Welcome to the Lift Your Story podcast with guest Gypsy Wonder. Hi everyone, I am Lorianne. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I'm with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas, and we'd like to welcome you to our Lift Your Story podcast.
In this episode, we welcome Gypsy Wonder as she is a motivational speaker. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hey, thank you for having me. I am so thrilled to meet you guys and talk about my story.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the early part. You were in a bad traffic accident and you ended up in a wheelchair and you got out of it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So when I was 19 years old, I went to Las Vegas with some friends, and on the way back, I flew back by myself, and I made friends with a guy on the plane that was really funny. But he was really wasted, and I started like drinking with him and whatnot. And he's like, "Do you want me to give you a ride home?" Which, obviously someone of common sense wouldn't have a guy that's really drunk give them a ride home. But I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And he actually gave me a Xanax also. I didn't even know what that was at the time. And it knocked me out. But so all of a sudden I wake up and the car is on fire and he pulls me out. So we get in the car and I pass out and I wake up and the car's on fire and like my body is completely paralyzed. And then he ends up leaving me in the middle of the street. And this is like East LA, and goes to like a house to call 911. And it seemed like time did not even move when I was just, and I couldn't move and I was screaming. That was one of the scariest moments of my life. It felt like time didn't move. And then I remember seeing the ambulance come, and then I wake up and I ended up having to be in a wheelchair and learn how to walk again. On my left ankle, I've had 4 surgeries on it. To this day, I don't have complete mobility, but from doing yoga, that has really helped me where it's pretty close. But yeah, that was scary. And that wasn't fun to not be able, to walk. And you just want to be a cute 19-year-old and you're in a wheelchair. So, and it wasn't even just that, like, even when I did walk again, I couldn't wear high heels for years and I couldn't be like, normal. Like I walked with a limp. It was kind of embarrassing. Or like my ankle, if I wore shorts or something, my ankle would get so swollen that it was embarrassing. So that was something that was really challenging. And especially the year before, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as well. So I had to deal with an autoimmune disease and where I'm sick all the time and having to worry about these blood sugars going up and down. And then I'm crippled. But when you have something inside you and you're confident and you know who you are, you don't let that make you feel insecure.
Yeah, I see you're struggling with alcoholism as well.
Yeah. So when I was 26, I got into a relationship with a man that was an alcoholic. And I'm not putting blame on him because everything is our own choice. But it was a situation where I started picking at my surroundings, and he started being very abusive to me and very physically violent. And so I would also use that to cope. And then I picked up habits and my alcohol. And then the lower I got, because my friends and family were so upset that I was with someone, that I had to lie and I lost my friends and family. So it put me darker into a hole where I try to numb my pain. I ended up getting a DWI and losing my car, losing my license, losing my job, losing pretty much everything, losing myself, losing my friends. And the only thing I had was alcohol. So I would wake up at 9 a.m. and walk to the liquor store and count quarters and go get drunk. And I would be blacked out by 4 p.m. And it was something that I felt so like I would look in the mirror every day and cry because I felt so ugly and I hated myself so much. Once you realize and something gets you to the point that you need to become sober and you start, it is the hardest thing in the world, but digging yourself out of that hole when you have nothing. It really is. And having to look at yourself sober, realizing all the bad choices that you made and all the people, like even worse, all the people you hurt. I hurt so many people that did nothing but love me and were there for me. But you can get out of that hole. I love my life now. I love my life. But it takes time to get there. And it's not right away. And that's the thing too, you probably read in the story that I wrote on there, is you think that, okay, I'm going to quit drinking, my life will be perfect. It's not. You have to, every morning, you have to wake up and make the choice that this is not fun. This is scary. This is hard, but I'm going to keep going through it. I'm going to push through it because I deserve better. I deserve to have the life that I want.
Well, and you were diagnosed with borderline personality disorder?
Yes. When I was diagnosed, this was around the time I was an alcoholic. Things kind of started making more sense. Like, because I'm so hypersensitive to things, or things that wouldn't bother a normal person make me really sad. So I think anyone that struggles with borderline personality disorder, going to DBT is amazing. It's this group that you go to once a week and you learn these life skills, which I personally think they should teach them in school, because I think everyone should know them, about emotional management, checking the facts, because a lot of times you assume things that aren't reality and hurt yourself. It's like you're constantly hurting your feelings of things that aren't even real.
Yeah, we had a guest on earlier that had the same issue, and she talked about how much that helped her and let her overcome all that stuff and move forward.
I know that that's an acronym. Can you just let our listeners know what the DBT stands for?
Okay, I can't think of the exact, it's dialectical behavior therapy. It starts with a D. If you guys want to look it up, I know I always like mess up the word. I don't know why, but it's something behavior therapy.
Yeah.
I had it written down here somewhere. Where was it that I wrote it down?
Yeah.
Dialectical behavioral therapy.
I go diabolical. Yeah. I don't know why. For years, I always got the word wrong. I don't know why. But yeah,
it's not an easy one. I mean, I wouldn't be able to say that.
I don't say that. Well, I don't have that in my normal vocabulary. I don't have that in my normal vocabulary.
Yeah, so that's what it is, listeners.
Well, and one thing that I like that they do in the therapy is they give you assignments every week. So you learn a skill, and then they give you an assignment, and then you come back and everyone talks about it. So like one of the homework assignments would be checking the facts before you get angry, right? So then that week I would find a time, okay, I got mad at my friend because of this. Okay, well, let me check the facts of the situation before I get upset. Did she really mean it that way? Did this happen? Did that, and then you do the homework and you use the skill, and then everyone talks about it. And it's just, these life skills I think are so important. Because a lot of, when you have borderline, you're hypersensitive and you jump to conclusions a lot. And this really teaches you how to manage them, where it's not the end of the world,
Yeah, I would think
I hurt my feelings, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah. I will be okay. I'll be okay.
I would think it would be something like you're overthinking it to the point where it's just totally out of proportion to what it is that person actually said.
So I was reading this book about borderline, and it said that, I haven't done this, but it said this guy went on a date with a girl, but then he thought that she might be lying about things. So he went and hid in the bushes at her house and was peeking in the window. Like, okay, I'm not that extreme, but that was like an example of a guy that has borderline. Or another example of a guy that has borderline is, because it talks about jealousy, is he was out to date with a girl, and she said, oh, she mentioned how her ex-boyfriend texted her, and he goes, really? Well, I'm going to text my ex, she was just saying it in a casual conversation, and he's like, really? I'm going to text my ex-girlfriends, and gets up and starts doing this and that in front of her face and says, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and she, you know, like jumping to the extreme of a situation.
Yeah. That's and you spent 3 days in a psych ward.
Yeah, I did.
I mean,
First of all, the guys in the psych ward are trying to it's like, you're in a psych ward, dude. I'm not trying to give you my number.
Oh my goodness.
They kept on trying to hit on me.
Tin-
Like, you're in the psych ward.
yeah,
No.
Tinder in the psych ward.
I'm like, I'm in the psych ward too, but like, no.
So it was the actual patients though, right? We want to make that clear that we're trying to hit on you.
Yes.
Okay.
No, yeah, I was in the psych ward. Yeah. No, the guys in there were sitting there like trying to, I forgot what one of them's pickup line was, but it was something so cheesy, but it was like about being in a psych ward. Like, oh, you crazy too, baby, come here. And it's like, what?
Oh my goodness. So you were there, it's for the 3 days, which is, that's a very short stay for being in the psychiatric ward. I mean, I know that a lot of times when you're usually in for, usually the least is I've heard of is like 2 weeks to a month.
I literally lost all hope in life and wanted to end everything. Like it was horrible. My soul was dying and it was horrible. But honestly, after like a day and a half of being there and seeing the other people there, it was like, get me out of here. Like I was like, okay, I'm not going to kill myself anymore. Can I just go home, please? It was really like, it really shifted because the people there, especially the guys kept on trying to hit on me. It was so creepy and uncomfortable. It was weird how my mental things changed. I went from feeling so hopeless and wanting it to not be alive anymore to then being like, maybe my life isn't so bad. I need to get out of here.
Well, I have a friend that has bipolar, and she's been in and out of times, and she knows how to work the system. So she's in there for usually a minimum of a week, but she has to go to these classes during the day and stuff. Well, after like a week they'll say, well, so how are you doing? Are you thinking about suicide? Nope, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not crazy. They let her out because she wasn't going to harm herself. That was the bar.
Yeah.
If you tell them, I don't know, I'm not going to kill myself, out the door you go. And she really needs help. She doesn't think she does, of course, but she does. And so you're talking about, she needs a month in there, really. But
yeah,
but she
that's good. Yeah. It's good to recognize though that you were in a space, and it's nice that transformed your life into saying, move forward. So from there, that you said changed your life. How did you go forth with that from that point?
I didn't. Well, no. Being in the psych ward didn't change my life. It just didn't make me want to kill myself anymore.
Okay.
But I was still depressed, but it was just like, I realized maybe I'm not as depressed or crazy as the other people in there. The nicest way possible to say that.
Yeah, it's funny because it reminds me of when I was a teenager. Especially you're a teenager and your girlfriend breaks up with you. It's the end of the world. And I can remember talking to my mom. Oh my gosh, she said, look, everybody has problems. She said, if everybody you knew sat around a table and they could put their problems and push them in the middle and say, take anybody else's problems, you would just take yours and pull them back because you don't have near the problems everybody else does.
Oh, for real. Absolutely.
So
absolutely. 100%.
I always think of that when people talk about, being, so, well, there may be a lot of bad things going on in your life, but trust me, there's a lot of other people that's got a whole lot worse than what you're going through. But
well, and that's, can I kind of dive into something that I really want to preach to people? That's really, really, really important to me.
Yeah.
Every single person out there has a battle that they're fighting. And a lot of people don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I think people need to be more kind to everybody. if you're at a restaurant and your waitress forgets something or gives you the wrong drink, it's okay. Because guess what? She might be going through stuff in her head. She might have just found out her mom has got cancer, or if someone cuts you off driving, maybe they're on their way to the hospital because someone just got an accident. Like, I think in general, people just need to just be more kind to each other because we don't know the battles that everyone else is facing.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, everybody can use more kindness. There's no doubt about that, for sure.
We're all walking through life together. We're all trying to make it in this thing called life. We all are just trying to be human, find our purpose, find love, live our lives. No one's intentionally. I mean, there are people that do things intentionally, but the people that do that are hurt people. I'm full of light and love that I want to spread because I found light and love within me. If I have light and love within me, there's no way I would ever want to be mean or hurt anyone's feelings ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the people that try to hurt us. There's something inside that's hurting them. That's why they're so mean to people.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So how did you come to where you are today? Did you want to expand on that? Because you're saying like you want to spread the word and such, and just interested in how you got to here.
Spread the word about just peace and kindness.
Yeah.
I've always been a peaceful, kind person. I've always rooted for the underdog. If there's someone being bullied, I have the person's back, and then I put the bully in their place. So that's something that's always been very, very important to me. If there's a guy that I like and he's mean to someone, or mean to someone working in a restaurant or this or a person or someone he goes to school with, it's no, bye. That's the biggest turnoff for me. So I've always been like that. I think me wanting to talk is me wanting to tell my story, where I was so hopeless. I had nothing. I looked in the mirror and cried because I felt so ugly. I hated myself. I hated my body. I hated my life. And I really changed and made my life better. So I want to spread that story about how you can really change your life. You don't have to hate yourself. You don't. I spend so much, I'm 32 right now. I spend most of my 20s either in the hospital for my diabetes or for my car accident or crying about stuff or sad or depressed or drunk. And you can live the life that you want, but you have to want it, and you have to make the choice, because a lot of days I don't feel like putting my best foot forward. I want to lay in bed because I struggle with depression too. But you have to keep going. So yeah, basically, I know I keep going on and on and on. I'm just so excited to talk to you guys. But basically, the moral of the story is I want to get out my story of how I overcame addiction to help other people. But while I do that, I also want to say how people need to be nicer to others as well.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So tell us about your husband and what happened when you met him.
My husband?
Well, yeah, because you said here that you met.
Oh, I quit drinking for a man, but we're not together.
Oh, okay.
But I'll tell the story. But no, we're not together. Yeah, but see, that makes the story even. It's not happy ever ending because we're not together. But originally, I met a man, and he saw me at my work. I was a complete alcoholic. All I did was party. I was doing drugs all the time, smoking crack. And he was someone that was very straight edge. He didn't drink, didn't smoke, nothing. And he met me, and there was just something he saw in me. And I knew him for 4 days, and he said he loved me, and we were close. And he said that he sees me way better than I am. He's like, this is not who you are. You're meant to be so much more. And there was such a beauty in that. And we were together for a month, and he went away to training camp, and I made some mistakes when I was drunk. And one day we were having a conversation. He was back, and we talked about it, and I was honest, and he broke things off with me. And I said, if I quit drinking, will you give me a second chance? And he said yes. And what's crazy about that is nothing worked at the time. I mean, I had doctors telling me because of my diabetes and my drinking that my kidneys were going to shut down and I was going to die if I quit drinking, and that didn't work. But something about, maybe it has to do with my borderline, something about him giving me a second chance, I quit drinking. And it was crazy. I said, okay, I'll stop. And I didn't go to AA meetings or nothing. But then it shows my addiction to relationships and to a man that overpowered my alcohol addiction. But so I quit because of a man. But then as time went by, I maintained it for myself because I started realizing I'm so much better than this. And things didn't work out between us, but that's okay, because without him, I don't know if I would have been able, I don't know if I'd be here today.
Well,
So
sounds like he was your inspiration. He touched you at a level that was deep and meaningful to you, and you were able to turn your life around.
yeah, no one else could get to me, and then he ended up not being the person I thought he was, and that's a whole nother story, but that's okay.
But it was a nice beginning that propelled you into, like you said, first I quit for him, but then I stayed off it for me. And I think that is where that's really important, is that in the end, you have to be doing things for you, because you're the only one that wakes up with yourself in the morning, goes to bed with yourself at night, every single day of your life. So,
well, and too. I'm a super chill, fun, loving person, and I'm nice to everyone I meet. Why do I hate myself so much? Like I hated myself so much. It's like, why am I so bad? It didn't make sense. But it was because I just kept hurting people and making bad decisions. But you can't turn back. And that's another thing too, is I hurt people that I care about, especially my mom, especially, my son, that I wasn't there for him. And, he was with my mom when I was getting drunk, and that's horrible. And it tortures me and it kills me. But if I think about that every day, that takes away more from time of spending with him. And people need to realize that you can't turn back the past. You really can't. And you have to let stuff go. You have to let it go, or you'll never be able to become your best self.
Yeah, I like, there was one thing that one guy said. He says, you can't reach for that glass of milk that was from yesterday, and you can't reach for a glass of milk that's in the future. The only one that you can have is the one that's on the table today, right now, for you. And it's very true. And you're right. You can't beat yourself down. It's just going to bring you down further. You make amends, and then you move forward. And good for you for doing that. Yeah.
I saw this meme that said, don't judge yourself for your past decisions that you didn't know. Or no, what did it say? It said something about not judging yourself for when you were a person that didn't know the things that you know now.
Yeah.
Like,
don't judge yourself for, I can't think of it, but
that makes sense. So what you just said. Yeah, you can't. And if you keep doing that, you'll just keep living in the past, and it's not worth it, because you get better when you realize that, I did that. And the other thing I always say is that don't feel guilty about it either, because you carry that guilt with you, that you're not going to go anywhere either. Just make amends with the people and yourself and move forward. Yeah.
But then I used to think like, well, is that bad that I don't feel guilty about something I did in my past and I let it go? But it's like, like, for instance, I smoked cigarettes for 15 years. Like, I want to smoke a cigarette right now as much as I want to eat a shoe. Like, they're disgusting to me. I'm serious. Your mentality can completely change. Like, I'm so different than I was with money, with smoking, with my body. Like, I don't feel right if I don't exercise. For a day, I don't feel right. Before, I would never exercise. I'd smoke cigarette. Like, you can completely transform yourself. You can.
Yeah.
You like a butterfly.
Mindset.
You can be in a cocoon, lose all your shed everything. But it all starts in the mind. You have to believe it first. If you don't believe it, can I teach you guys a trick?
Sure.
You guys are so cool. I'm so happy to be on. Okay. So say, for instance, you want to start waking up in the mornings, right? But you go, I'm not a morning person, but I'm going to try. All you have to do is start telling yourself, I'm a morning person. This is easy. I'm a morning person. This is easy. Because what you say aligns with your subconscious and it'll naturally be easy. That's how I started doing a lot of my habits. Is I started telling myself, you know, oh, like what's one? Oh, I'm not a runner, but I'm going to try. No, I started saying I'm a runner, and then I started becoming a runner. Because when you tell yourself that, but we have all of these like subconscious beliefs that we think in our head that we don't realize we can change. I mean, it's easy. I'm a runner. I'm like, who, like, seriously, that's all it takes. I'm a runner. I'm a runner. I'm a runner. I'm a morning person. I'm a morning person. I'm a morning person. Serious. But you're not going to change a habit if you keep telling yourself other
You're
things.
doomed, and you're doomed. This is it. This is just who I am. That's just a habit. I'm stuck with it. If you do that, you're not
I was
going to.
born this way,
Absolutely.
whatever.
Your habits not going to change. Another thing, how I started getting, because my whole life I was never like overweight or anything, but I was never like toned, like had abs and stuff like I do now. And I remember one day, this is around when I quit drinking, and I was laying in bed and I was on Instagram seeing all these like girls with sexy bodies. I was like, oh, I want to look like that. And then I was supposed to go to a class at the gym at like 7 a.m. And I was like, I'm not going to class at 7 a.m. And then I remembered what Tony Robbins said. And he said, if you want to have what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. And I thought, I've never gotten my ass out of bed and went to the gym. I've been too tired. If I want to have that sexy body like girls on Instagram, I need to do that. And that worked. It's serious. It worked.
Well, it's not even the sexy body, it's the fit body, like that to me, because I mean, not everyone's going to look like those girls on Instagram, no matter how much they try. But you're absolutely right what you were saying, like you just had the flab. Well, it feels good and it's healthier. And, for women my age, it's really good because you end up with osteoporosis. Having muscle mass helps with that.
You look good. Okay, you look good.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, I see you. I see your arms in that picture. You working it. I see you.
But well, I have a son your age, so let's put it that way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you look good.
Thank you.
No, so that's what I'm saying is if you want to have something you've never had, you have to do things that you've never done.
Yeah.
So guess what? I want a body like that. Well, I don't have it right now. Yeah. I have to do something that I'm not doing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love your words of wisdom, and I love that you shared this story with people. I will say, and I said it in our previous one, but I'm so glad that you're here today. My niece passed away a year ago, and she had borderline personality disorder, and she passed away from a accidental overdose. So when I hear stories like yours, and she wasn't much younger than you, it's very inspiring to know that this dialectical, if I'm saying it right, behavioral therapy.
I like that because then it makes me I don't know.
But it is working. We've had 2 people already on the show now saying that it's working. So for people out there, whether you're struggling with it or you have family that is, look into it. It's showing to be very successful. And so thanks so much for sharing that. I don't want to talk too much about my niece because then I'm going to start crying. But like I said, you're an inspiration to be here today. So thank you.
My mom, one thing my mom said when my bio on there that you guys read, I posted that on Facebook on my birthday because that was in November 18th, where I decided I just want to get my story out there. I want to start being a motivational speaker. And then I decided I really want to get on podcasts, but that was the first, and it was hard for me because it's like, I don't even want to picture me where I look bad online, but I'm going to admit that I have mental problems and I'm alcoholic and, all of this stuff that I've been through. But I think so many people now on social media want to be fake and perfect. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to be real. This is me. This is me.
and
And
that's
my mom commented, you know what she said? She said, it's been a lot of prayers and a lot of tears, but you're worth every one of them.
Oh my
But-
goodness. Well, you
but,
could tell your
you know-
mother congratulations, because that's not easy to go through as
She
well. I
never
know my
gave up on
sister
me.
struggled. Yeah,
Never
my
gave-
sister didn't either, but it is a struggle for parents, I know. And so good for her as well, and good for you for getting out.
Yeah, but
Sorry, Roy.
when you put that out there, there's people that resonate with that. It touches them. They go, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
You mean somebody else has done it? You know what I'm saying? It's just, so if it's important that you do that for the other people, because it gives them hope.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good for you.
The
Keep
goal.
going.
That's the goals, you know?
Yeah.
You got, I love your smile. You're so cute.
Well, you're adorable too, honest to goodness. So we're really glad that you were here and shared your story, and keep it up. And I'm sure we'll see you up on stage. And like I said, who cares what you look like? Your story is more important
Right.
to the people out there than whether or not you've got the right makeup on or the right dress. What they want to hear is what you've got to say. So you're a very beautiful young lady, but like I said, you don't need to be perfect to be telling people what you're telling them. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think
All right.
I think you'll be an awesome motivational speaker.
Absolutely, I do too. Now, Gypsy, is there a place that I know that you're likely on Instagram? Is there a place where people can follow you now that you're going to be a speaker? That's one thing that I'm sure we'll be hearing some, you'll be posting about your stories as you go along. Where would people be able to find that?
Right now, just Instagram. Like I said, it's all up from here. My goal is to be like the female Tony Robbins motivational speaker all over the world. You saw me first. This is other than the crypto one. You saw me first. Okay. What's the day today? March 31st. March 31st, 2021. You saw Gypsy first. You know what I mean? You got.
So this will be aired, and there'll be tons of people watch it.
Yeah, and so it's Gypsy_Wonder_. That's my Instagram.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
We'll
thank
be
you
in touch,
guys.
okay?
Thanks.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit us at liftyourstory.com.